Hey everybody, Yankee here. I've received a couple of emails from people that are asking me what I think of this situation where the mother of a young man who shot up a high school and killed 4 of his classmates has now been found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. And this is the first time this has actually happened. And people are asking me, what do I think of this? Do I think this is a travesty? And before I get into it here, I want to give everybody a little bit of a trigger warning. I'm going to get a little heated at some parts of this because I do think this is a travesty and it does piss me off. So bear with me and keep in mind, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a rant. Well, first off, as far as the mother and then possibly the father at a later date, because he hasn't been tried yet, being held accountable for their son's actions when he went into that school with a handgun and killed 4 innocent children, I'm absolutely okay with that. 100% okay with it. Here's the deal. These people knew their kid had problems. There's no way they couldn't have. The evidence was stacked so high that you couldn't possibly ignore it. But instead of trying to do the right thing, get their son help, actually be good parents, they just chose to placate him, buying him what he wanted. One of the things he wanted was a handgun. And even though he was only 15 years old, they got it for him. And even though he was having these issues, they got it for him. And then they didn't supervise him with it. They allowed him unfettered access to it, obviously, because he was able to take it easily without them even knowing. And I have said for years, I do not support laws that say you have to lock up your gun, or you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you're responsible if a criminal gets a hold of your property and does something bad with it, because that's what criminals do. But when it's your own child, you have a responsibility. And even though I don't believe there should be laws that say you have to lock it up, if you don't lock it up, if you don't properly supervise your child, if you don't properly parent that child and allow them to get a hold of something like that and do something like that, then that's on you. I do believe in being held responsible for your mistakes. I don't like the government coming in and saying, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and this so that you don't make mistakes. You know, it's up to us to make sure you're doing the right thing, and therefore we have a right to come in and make sure you're doing the right thing. That I don't agree with at all, and will never agree with it. But I'm firmly in the camp of people that are okay with people being held accountable when they do something stupid, like allowing their troubled child to have unrestricted access to a firearm, especially when they've been called into the school and said, hey, we think your son is in danger of shooting people. He's been threatening it. He's been making drawings about it. He wrote poems and turned them in class where he's talking about how his family is a mistake and his life is worthless. You know these things. You were informed of these things. And when they asked you today to take him home because they think he might be a risk, you didn't want to. That was inconvenient for you. You didn't want to be a parent. You knew what was going on. You knew what your son was like. And you chose to do nothing about it. And you chose not to secure the firearms and be responsible. You just did what was easy. Hey, our troubled child is a real mess. But if we placate him by giving him this gun he wants, maybe that'll, cheer him up a little bit, make him less of a problem for us. So I'm okay with them going to prison. I think they failed as parents. They failed as human beings. And like I said, even though I don't like the government dictating your behavior, when your behavior costs lives, I think you should be held accountable. So I'm absolutely okay with this. But also, there's other people that should be responsible here too. Like the school counselor, who when one of the teachers contacted him and said, hey, this kid just wrote a manifesto in the form of a poem that's basically, something a mass shooter would put, on their website, or a mass murderer would put on their website, and the counselor chose not to talk to him. In fact, said he went to the teacher and reassured her that there was no reason to talk to him, because that would have been inconvenient, difficult, and something he's probably not qualified to do. Most school counselors aren't qualified to do anything like that. They should be, but they're not. Because they don't want to spend the money on actual counselors, they let the gym coach be the counselor, or the football coach be the counselor, just so they have an excuse to be there. So it's ridiculous. And that guy should be responsible. He should be held responsible. He should get sued. When he saw all these warning signs and did nothing about it, he should get sued. He should be responsible. The principal who had that kid in there that day talking to his parents about what they felt was going on and what the risks were, and then didn't even search his backpack and sent him back to class, didn't get him any help, didn't do anything, didn't insist the parents take him home, didn't, help the parents get him the help he needed, or at least take steps to prevent what was happening. If he would have sent that kid home with his parents right then and there and asked the parents, can we search his backpack, and found the gun, he could have gave the gun to the parents, sent him home, or have the police take the gun, probably because a minor brought it to school and it's going to be part of a criminal case, but sent him home with his parents that day, no longer with the tools to do what he did. There's several places along the way here that people could have done something to stop this if they just did their jobs. But principals, counselors, everything, they don't want to do anything other than the bare minimum. And I think they should be held accountable when they do that. When they don't follow policy and they don't do the right thing in these situations, well, that's a judgment call on their part, and they should be held accountable for those judgment calls just like those parents are. So fuck that counselor and that principal and his parents. I think they should all be responsible. Even the teacher that kind of backed down should have some responsibility when the counselor told her, let's not worry about it. Because that is just negligence. And their negligence led to a defective human being being able to do something horrible. Because they didn't do their jobs, they could have easily stopped it, and they didn't. And I'm not talking suing the school district, because that's just them taking our money, taxpayers' money. I'm talking these people, these individual adults who are supposedly professionals, who know what they're supposed to do and then choose not to do it. I've seen so many cases where teachers see bullied kids, and instead of supporting the bullied child like they're supposed to, they'll actually team up with the people that are bullying him. Like, he'll go to the bathroom. I sat in school one day, and one of the kids that got made fun of all the time, John Carpenter, got up to go to the bathroom. And when we went out to go to the bathroom, the kids that bully him all the time were making jokes about him, and the teacher joined in. And I called the teacher a big fat fucking groundhog, because he looked like one, and got sent to the principal's office. And even though I told him why I told him that, they didn't care. They didn't care that he was bullying a child along with other kids. And that still happens today, believe it or not. There's so many teachers, especially that are in the athletic fields, who want to be the best friends of the athletes in school, because when they were in school, they were nerds. So now they get to be the coach, and they get to be best friends with the in-clique. And they're just as bad as they are. So these teachers need to be started being weeded out. These administrators need to start being weeded out. And holding them responsible when they make bad decisions would be one step towards that. So, yes, I'm okay with the parents being held accountable, because their inaction and their inability to parent properly and their irresponsible behavior led to a tragedy that could have been stopped. So, yes, I think they should be held accountable. And also, like I said, the people in that school that allowed what was happening to happen, ignored every sign, chose to take the easy way out and do as little as possible, those people should also be financially responsible to the parents of those children.